Okay, so the first section that we're going to be looking at is something called building teams. And the first thing that we need to know is that there is a difference between a group and a team. Okay, between a group and a team. Now, a group, they are in the same area. They're not working towards a specific result. They don't need to win anything. They're not collaborating. They're not believing in leadership or teamwork. They're just together. So if you look at this little picture, there's a whole bunch of people in a minibus. Now, it just so happens that they're all in the same space. Therefore, they are a group. A team is very different. A team has a plan. A team has leadership. A team has a goal. And so that's why we look at a football team and we say, hey, that's a team. They're working together. They have a goal. They have a mission. They are collaborating together. They're using each other's strengths in order to fulfill something and get results. That's a team. Can you see the difference between a group and a team? Great. Next thing about teams. Let's go to the next one. Okay, we need to understand that there are differences between a team and a group. The first one is in terms of understanding. Okay, so all of this is referred to over here in your workbook. So let me go there. You'll see that. Okay, there's that wonderful thing, together everyone achieves more, but let's go here. Okay, so understanding. Members think they are grouped together just for administration, okay? But teams realize that there are goals, that they need to be interdependent, and that they need each other in order to survive. Ownership, no one really cares about who's in charge or accountable or responsible when it comes to a group. But teams, everyone takes charge, everyone takes ownership of what they are supposed to do. Everyone knows that they are going to be managed according to the results of the tasks that they do. So they have to be owners of their tasks. Creativity, well, if you're in a group, you don't have to be creative, you don't have to contribute because there's no end result. But with teams, everyone has to contribute, everyone has to be creative in order for us to find a result and a way forward and solutions. So, absolutely, we've got to bring our creativity and contribution to the team. Trust, you know what? In groups, you don't have to trust each other because you're not going to go deep with each other. You're not going to work together. So, there's not much trust in a group. When it comes to a team, well, you've got to feel secure. You need to trust each other. You have to believe that they will complete their tasks so that you complete your tasks. It's not like I can get a result without you doing what you need to do. So we have to build trust. We have to bring up discussions. We have to have conflict in order to develop trust. Conflict resolution. Okay. Over here, yes, there might be conflict, but it doesn't have to be sorted out because there's nothing that hangs on it. There is no result that has to be achieved. So that's why conflict resolution doesn't have to happen within groups. But in teams, we absolutely have to have conflict. We need to know if we're standing on each other's toes. We need to know if there are differences of opinion. We need to address those because the more we address those, the stronger our bond becomes. So absolutely, we have to have conflict resolution within teams. Participative decision making. In a lot of groups, there'll be one person who makes decisions and the rest of the people will follow. When it comes to teams, we need to know that everyone has a voice, everyone has good ideas. And so everyone needs to be part of finding solutions, of solving problems, and of getting the result. So that's why we participate in teams. So there's also different kinds of teams. There are 7 major kinds of teams. There are functional teams. So if you're in marketing or admin or sales, that's a functional team. They have a certain function and they work together in order to fulfill that function. Then you have things called cross-functional teams. Now, there are times where we work with projects and we'll have someone from finance, someone from marketing, someone from production, and they will all work together. They are different functions, but they're working together in order to fulfill some kind of project. Then we have leadership teams. Leadership teams put together objectives and goals and values and really give sort of some kind of direction to the rest of the team. So that's leadership teams. Then you got self-directed teams. There are certain teams that don't need a manager. They don't need an official leader. They're going to work together. They're going to collaborate, and they decide on objectives together. So they don't need a leadership team. They work together. Normally, it's on short-term projects, but they're going to collaborate and they're going to come up with something. Sometimes it's on a short-term basis, but they're self-directed. They don't need mentorship. They report on their progress, but they don't need an official leader. Then you got things called quality circles. So often in production environments or manufacturing, people will sit together and say, hey, what's happening with our quality? How can we make quality better? How can we make things move quicker? How can we make sure that we don't miss deadlines? And they'll talk together and think about things and brainstorm, and that becomes your quality circle. And then you have a task force. Now, there's a specific need, there's a specific thing that has to be done. So you do take people that are strong in a certain area, you bring them together, and they have a task that they have to perform. And so that's a task force, again, short-term project, get the job done, and then break away, disband. Don't become a team anymore. You are there for a task, and then you break away. Okay, so that's the kinds of teams that we have in organizations. Then, if we have good teams, teams that function well and get results, what happens? Well, they have an improved quality of work life. So people want to come to work. They want to give their best. They want to achieve. And so you got to, when you're surrounded with people that are positive and solution driven, well, you want to come to work. They also have lower absenteeism and staff turnover. Okay, so again, if you're enjoying what you're doing, then you're not going to want to stay at home. You're not going to pretend to be sick. You're not going to leave the job because ultimately you're happy there. So when you're happy in a team, in a good team, well, then there's less absenteeism and less staff turnover. Also, there's increased innovation. The more we trust each other, the more our opinions are heard, the more we're going to come up with better ideas. And so we're going to be working together. Your idea will spark my idea, and we'll see better creativity and better innovation. Okay. Now we're going to formative section 1.1. In your group, okay, so in your buddy system or in your support group or in your admin group, you're going to sit together, you're going to decide on certain things to do with your formative section. Okay, so even if it's virtually via WhatsApp. So in groups, consider the unique roles, characteristics, and dynamics of team members in your workplace. So tell me about the different kinds of people, different kinds of personalities, different kinds of skills that you have together. Tell me why or why not your team members work well as a team. So are they strong together? Are they weak together? Do you have lots of conflicts? Is it that you can use each other's strengths to achieve more? You tell me about how strong your teams are and also about the different characteristics, roles, and dynamics of your team and why it works or why it doesn't work. So you're going to tell me about your teams. Okay, that's formative section 1.1. Then your summative section, okay? Your summative section is going to be this one, okay? So let me go to the PowerPoint. I'm going to go through everything that we've just gone through. Okay, teams versus groups. We understand that. Different kinds of teams, why we should have teams. Okay, so remember, so I'm going to move myself again into this corner so I can watch what you guys are doing. Formative 1.1. Okay, so you're going to tell me about how strong your teams are. Are they working together? What are the different roles, dynamics, all that kind of stuff. And then right at the end, remember to score yourself. Okay, remember, I'm not scoring you. Your friend's not scoring you. You score yourself. The second part is your summative. So let's take a look at our summative. Okay, so question one in your summative, and always write this next to it, make a note somewhere. So see the table on page 3 and page 4. Your answers will be there. Question 2, see the table on page 4 and page 5. You'll find the answers there. And then question 3, go look at the table on page 5 and 6, but remember to give examples from your own teams and when you saw this played out in your own teams. Okay, so take the principles but tell me examples from what you have seen at places like Kakuza or at the Science Center or at any host organization that you might be involved in. Okay, so tell me examples from those areas. So take the principle and then refer it back to an example that you have seen at your host area. All right, so you guys give yourselves half an hour to work on the formative and the summative, and then come back and do the next video.